Hello everyone, this is Scott from Psychometric Industries, and I'm going to talk to you today about the new Drumshots sample pack from the guys at Drumforge. This is going to be the new Dave Otero Drumshots pack. So for those who don't know, Dave Otero has been recording and mixing some awesome metal albums over the last few years, including releases by bands such as Cattle Decapitation, Cephalic Carnage, Archspire and Allegion. And these are always great sounding records with highly technical instrumentation, technical fast drumming, complex guitar and bass lines, and it's easy for a mix with lots of fast heavy elements to end up sounding mushy and have different instruments struggling to cut through and find their own space. And getting the drums right is an important part of making sure the whole mix is strong, as it's a huge part of the backbone of any track. So I've thrown together a very quick test for this in Reaper with some guitar and bass along with some programmed drums. Now this isn't really a finished track or anything. The guitars are kind of thrown together, it's not really properly mixed or anything, but the focus here is in the drums, so that's what we'll be concentrating on. The other stuff's just there to give an impression of how the samples kind of sit in a mix with other instruments. So this is the track at the moment. It's just a couple of bars of music. What I'll do is I'll just play it without the drumshot samples, and then I will add those in the second time it loops through. So this is the track at the moment. And this is it with the Dave Otero Drumshots samples. So to me that definitely sounds a lot punchier. The drums have got much more bite and they cut through the mix a lot more easily. So those are great sounding samples. What we'll do, we'll have a look at what's going on here in a bit more detail. So I'm using the Stephen Slate's SSD4 Custom, which I think is not something they actually sell anymore. It used to be like a really basic version of Slate Drums 4 with just a couple of kits. Probably something that I'll upgrade at some point, but it's fine to show what this can do. Now I've just programmed some basic drum patterns here just to test this out. So what I've done, I've got this is just the Slate drums on their own. I've got the Slate drum sampler running on a track here, and I've got all the individual drums, the kick, snare, everything all kind of sent through to their own tracks, so we can kind of process them all independently. I've got a little bit of processing running on this stuff as well. So the drums themselves sound not bad, but what we'll do is we'll just look at the kind of difference with without the drumshot samples, and then when you add the drumshots on, you just instantly get that kind of extra kind of boost for everything. So this is all this is here is just we'll just move that along a little bit. So I've got like a little folder here just where the kick, snare and the toms are basically being sent through to these tracks pre all these effects and stuff. And it's just using, I didn't mean to do that, it's just using a Slate trigger to actually trigger the samples on each instrument. And here are the Dave Otero samples. So just have a quick look at some of the individual samples here. If we solo the kick drum, for example, you can see here, what I'll do is I'll just mute the drum shots, so it's you can definitely kind of hear, like when you take the drum shots off, it just kind of loses a little bit of kind of bite on the kick there. When you add it back in, it's just got that extra kind of oomph. There's a few different samples on here. I won't go through all of them, but there's a couple of different varieties for each instrument. We've got a couple of different kick variations. That one sounds a little bit more kind of round. There's the sleigh kick, and the one I was using there was the wolf kick, which is quite a kind kind of powerful one, which is great for like kind of dense metal mixes. And this is basically just overlaid on top of the original Slate sample, which is still playing along there in the background. So you just kind of like you're not hearing the Drumshot sample on its own. It's kind of blending over the top of the original kick drum. So the same goes for the snare. You can solo that. So you can definitely hear when I turn the Drumshots off there. We get that kind of snare sound there. When I turn the Drumshots back on, it's got that just a kind of extra kind of edge to it. So again, there's a few different variations of the samples here. That's the Slay one that's on it at the moment. And there's a few different ones. This is the Doom Hammer snare. The Gut snare. And the Wolf snare. So they all just kind of add a little bit extra. There's also kind of ones that have got some extra, like that's a huge reverby one. So there's a few variations of different types of things here. But yeah, they definitely, it just kind of adds a lot of extra kind of bite to the whole sound of the drums on it. And as well as the snare and kick, there's also toms as well. So if I find a bit that's actually got some toms on it here, this end bit here should have some. So that's without the Drumshots, and that's with them added in. So again, it's just adding that extra bit of bite, which will help it like cut right through a mix and just give it that extra kind of power to just kind of glue everything together in the drums, and make everything sound really kind of nice and tight. So it really kind of accentuates every individual hit. There's a kind of nice transient attack on each one, compared to having it off, where it just sounds a little bit more kind of flubby, a little bit kind of like that. It's kind of easy for stuff like that to just kind of get lost in the background of a mix. And this is just a really easy way to kind of get that extra kind of little bit of presence, a little bit of bite to just get everything cutting right through into the mix. So again, if we unsolo all this stuff and stop looping that section. So again, just without the Drumshots on there, sounds not bad. But adding it in, you just get everything just sounds much more powerful, much more kind of right kind of in your face there. And yeah, if we isolate the drums, bring the rest of the instruments back in, and this is where you really see it shine, you know, with the rest of the instruments playing along there, along with it. Without the Drumshots, the drums are kind of getting buried a little bit with the guitars. I mean, with a metal mix, you know, you want big guitars. You want all these instruments to sound big and powerful, and then you just throw those Drumshots on there, and the drum track is just sounding huge as well. So, yeah, it definitely makes an absolutely huge difference for me. The difference between having the Drumshots off and on. It's like night and day. You can definitely hear massive difference in the overall kind of feel of the mix. So yeah, I'm very impressed with this pack. I'll definitely be looking up some of the other Drumforge stuff as well. Some of the other Drumshot sample packs. As this is a really good sample pack. And they make an absolutely huge difference with the way they sound drums in the mix. So hopefully this video has been helpful to some of you out there in demonstrating what the Drumshot samples can do to help get the drums cutting through in a mix. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll hopefully see you again for some future videos at some point. Take care.